Ron Howard has always been the calm center of chaos, a director who believes in dignity, restraint, and kindness. But when he was asked about the darker side of the
Ron Howard has long been known as one of the calmest and most respectful figures in Hollywood. As a director, he built his career on professionalism, patience, and fairness. People who have worked with him often describe his sets as organized, peaceful, and focused on teamwork. He believes movies should be made with care and integrity. But when conversations turn to the darker history of old Hollywood, his tone becomes more serious. He has suggested more than once that the so-called golden age of Hollywood was not as pure or glamorous as many people think. According to him, the bright lights and beautiful premieres hid secrets that few dared to speak about. If you enjoy deep stories about Hollywood's past and want honest discussions about the truth behind fame, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. There are many untold stories from the entertainment world, and we explore them in simple, clear language so everyone can understand what really happened behind the scenes. For Howard, the Golden Age was filled with talent and classic films, but it was also a time when powerful people were rarely questioned. Studios controlled public images, newspapers often protected major stars, fans were encouraged to see only perfection, but behind closed doors, some of those same legends behaved in ways that shocked those who worked around them. Fame, according to this view, sometimes became a shield that allowed harmful behavior to continue without consequences. One of the earliest examples often discussed is Errol Flynn. On screen, Flynn was the ultimate adventure hero. In movies like Captain Blood, he played brave swordsman who fought injustice and won the hearts of audiences around the world. His charm, confidence, and athletic presence made him one of the biggest stars of the 1930s and 1940s. Studios invested heavily in his image. He was presented as daring yet romantic, wild yet lovable. However, his private life was far more troubled. Flynn struggled with heavy drinking and drug use. His lifestyle was fast and reckless. In 1942, two teenage girls accused him of statutory rape. The case became front-page news across America. Reporters followed every development. Crowds gathered outside the courthouse. Flynn denied the accusations and was acquitted at trial, but the scandal left a permanent mark on his reputation. Even after the court decision, rumors about his behavior continued. Biographies published later described him as arrogant and careless with relationships. Letters released years after his death suggested he treated romantic conquests like trophies. His addictions grew worse over time, and financial troubles followed. By the late 1950s, his health had seriously declined. In 1959, at the age of 50, he died from heart failure along with other medical complications. Many observers believed that years of excess had destroyed him physically and emotionally. Flynn's story became one of the earliest reminders that fame could hide deep personal problems. Another giant of classic cinema was Kirk Douglas. Born into a poor immigrant family, Douglas rose through sheer determination. His powerful screen presence made him unforgettable. His role in Spartacus turned him into an international icon. On screen, he often portrayed strong, moral heroes who fought injustice and oppression. Audiences admired his intensity and strength, but people who worked with him sometimes described a more difficult side. Crew members said he could be extremely demanding. Some reported sudden outbursts of anger. Others described him as competitive to the point of intimidation. While many respected his discipline and drive, others felt he created a tense atmosphere on set. More serious allegations appeared decades later. In 2018, Lana Wood, sister of actress Natalie Wood, wrote in her memoir that Kirk Douglas had assaulted Natalie when she was a teenager in the 1950s. The claim received major media attention. Douglas denied wrongdoing before his death, and no legal charges were filed. The allegation remains disputed, but it added another complicated layer to his legacy. Douglas lived to the age of 103 and received many honors, including an honorary Academy Award in 1996. He was also praised for helping end the Hollywood blacklist by crediting screenwriter Dalton Trumbo during a period of political fear. When he died in 2020, tributes highlighted his achievements and contributions to film. Yet discussions about his temper and the unresolved accusations remain part of how history remembers him. His life shows how a person can be both admired for talent and criticized for personal behavior.
Faye Dunaway is another figure whose career reflects the complexity of Hollywood fame. She delivered unforgettable performances in Bonnie and Clyde and Chinatown. She won an Academy Award and became known for her powerful, intense acting style. For many film lovers, she remains one of the most talented actresses of her generation. Yet stories of difficult behavior followed her for years. Some cast and crew members described emotional outbursts, strong demands, and long delays during filming. On the set of Mommy Dearest, which portrayed actress Joan Crawford in alleged abuse behind closed doors, reports of tension became widely discussed. Co-stars later said the atmosphere could feel stressful. Dunaway has defended herself, saying she always aimed for perfection and high standards. Still, her reputation for being hard to work with reportedly limited her opportunities over time. Directors hesitated to cast her. In 2011, she was dismissed from a Broadway production, which renewed public debate about her temperament. Her story highlights how intense ambition and artistic control can sometimes harm professional relationships. Another major name from classic Hollywood is John Wayne. Known for his roles in westerns and war films, Wayne became a symbol of American masculinity. His performance in The Searchers is still considered one of the greatest in cinema history. He was admired for his deep voice, strong presence, and patriotic image. However, Wayne's public comments later sparked controversy. In a 1971 interview with Playboy magazine, he made statements about race and Native Americans that many critics have described as racist. When the interview resurfaced decades later, it caused widespread debate. Some argued he was reflecting attitudes common during his time. Others insisted that his views were harmful and unacceptable regardless of the era. On film sets, Wayne was known as a powerful personality. Some respected his leadership and professionalism. Others felt he could be harsh or dismissive toward people who disagreed with him. His strong political beliefs shaped both his public image and his relationships within the industry. When he died in 1979 after battling cancer, he was still widely celebrated. Yet modern discussions often examine both his contributions to film and his controversial statements. Perhaps the most serious and widely known scandal among these figures involves Roman Polanski. Polanski gained recognition as a brilliant filmmaker with works such as Rosemary's Baby. Later, he directed The Pianist, which won him the Academy Award for Best Director. His life story included surviving the Holocaust and losing his wife, Sharon Tate, in a tragic murder. Many viewed him as a gifted artist shaped by personal tragedy. In 1977, he was arrested in Los Angeles and charged with drugging and sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl. He pled guilty to unlawful sex with a minor as part of a plea agreement. Before sentencing, he fled the United States and has lived in Europe since then. The case remains one of the most controversial in film history. Polanski has continued to make films abroad, and his awards have often sparked debate. Some believe his artistic achievements should be recognized separately from his crime. Others argue that serious wrongdoing cannot be separated from a person's legacy. His case has become a symbol of Hollywood's struggle with accountability and justice. Finally, Mickey Rooney represents the complicated story of early stardom. As one of Hollywood's first major child actors, he became a sensation at MGM Studios. He appeared in musicals and family films, often alongside Judy Garland. By his late teens, he was one of the highest-paid actors in America. Audiences loved his energy and cheerful personality. But his personal life was troubled. Mickey married 8 times and faced repeated financial problems. He struggled with gambling addiction and filed for bankruptcy more than once. Some former partners described him as jealous and emotionally difficult. In his later years, he testified before the U.S. Senate about elder abuse, claiming family members had financially exploited him. When he died in 2014 at age 93, reports suggested his estate was surprisingly small. His life reflected the extreme highs and lows of childhood fame. The smiling boy who once filled theaters eventually faced loneliness and hardship. His story reminds us that early success does not guarantee lifelong stability. When looking at these six figures together, a clear pattern appears. The golden age of Hollywood produced extraordinary films and unforgettable performances. It shaped global culture and inspired generations. Yet it also operated within a system that often protected powerful stars. Studios managed publicity carefully. Contracts restricted what actors could say. Scandals were sometimes hidden to protect profits.
It is important to note that not every accusation has been proven in court, and some stories remain disputed. History is complex, and reputations are shaped by both fact and interpretation. However, the broader lesson remains meaningful. Fame does not automatically make someone kind, moral, or responsible. Admiring someone's work does not require ignoring their flaws. Ron Howard's perspective, shaped by his lifelong connection to Hollywood, suggests that honesty is necessary. He has often emphasized professionalism and respect on his own film sets. His reflections on the past highlight the need for accountability and compassion in the present. In recent years, movements like #MeToo have encouraged more open conversations about abuse and power in the entertainment industry. Stories that were once whispered are now discussed publicly. The industry has faced pressure to change how it handles misconduct. While progress is ongoing, awareness has grown. The legends of classic cinema will always be remembered for their artistic contributions. Errol Flynn will remain associated with daring adventures. Kirk Douglas will be remembered for intense dramatic performances. Faye Dunaway will continue to be praised for powerful roles. John Wayne will remain a symbol of Western cinema. Roman Polanski will be discussed both for his artistic talent and his crime. Mickey Rooney will stand as a reminder of the pressures of early fame. But alongside admiration, there will always be questions about responsibility, behavior, and the human cost of celebrity culture. Hollywood's golden age was not purely golden. It contained brilliance and beauty, but also silence and suffering. In the end, these stories are not simply about judging individuals. They are about understanding how systems of power operate. When wealth, fame, and influence combine, it becomes easy for accountability to fade. History shows that even the brightest spotlight can hide deep shadows. As audiences today, we can appreciate classic films while also acknowledging the full truth behind their creation. We can admire talent while still believing in fairness and justice. The past cannot be changed, but it can be examined honestly. The Golden Age gave the world timeless cinema, but it also left lessons about responsibility and integrity. Real character is revealed not only on screen, but in everyday actions when no cameras are watching. Fame may create legends, but it does not remove the need for empathy and respect. In the end, perhaps the most important lesson is this: greatness in art does not excuse harm in life. The spotlight can elevate, but it can also protect. And as history continues to unfold, more stories may emerge, reminding us that behind every legend is a human being capable of both brilliance and failure.